The not-so-distant future. Life has become miserable. A civil war has erupted in the United States. As you fight for your freedoms and liberties against the corporate, soulless organizations of lizard overlords, you start to wonder why you fight so hard. All hope may be lost. All your friends have died, not but from gunfights, but from dysentery. As you sit in your trench pondering your existence, an overwhelming joy comes over you. As you realize, at least you have an American RPK setup.
Oh, it's not so bad. Contact front!
Welcome back to the channel, the Managerial Outcomes channel. Today we're going over the Quattro-15 Lower from Desert Tech. This particular lower is a little bit weird, a little bit goofy, and it's worthy of a video for the second channel. Now, here's the backstory behind this whole setup, or the whole video, I should say. So Desert Tech reached out, they said, hey, do you have any interest on our Quattro-15 Lower? And I was initially like, kinda, and so they sent it over. So this is the subject matter of the video, what's going on with this lower right here from Desert Tech. I'm gonna talk about it, probably gonna roast it a bit, and I'm gonna go over what I like and what I don't like, and it's more so just for the Library of Alexandria. This isn't necessarily a firearms review, it's more so me probably gonna roast this thing a little bit, if I'm being honest. I like where their head's at. So, the gun itself is gonna be my American RPK style gun. The upper is from Red Right Hand LLC, so it's supposed to be like a Recce LMG upper for the AR-15 platform. Big long barrel, I think it's a 20-inch barrel, and it's got some heat cooling system, and then the setup with the bipod, and then an LPVO. It's kind of like the Arizona RPK setup. And honestly, I'm probably gonna roast it a little bit. Now, I always think get questions when I come out shooting that why don't I wear a hat? Oh, there's totally a bug on the lens. Really? Yeah. Get off my lens. They often ask, hey, why don't you wear a hat in the desert? And it's like, yeah, you got me. I should probably wear a hat more, help with me not getting skin cancer. And then it's so hot out. Today's what, a high of like 105, 110? One or the other. It's hot. If you're wondering where I got this cool Desert Tiger stripe top from, then look no further than this video sponsor, American Pipe Dream Apparel. Fantastic young Zoomers getting after it in the milsurp space. They supplied me with the sick British Desert DPM top. Has built-in padding, which I specifically chose for this video, knowing I was gonna be proned out a bunch shooting, to keep my fragile little elbows protected. It does a cool little job. It's a vibe, and they're also a vibe. They have a bunch of cool stuff in stock. They're selling night vision, alpenflage, this stuff, manuals, rations, all a bunch of cool stuff over at American Pipe Dream Apparel. Link for them will be in the description down below. Go show them some freaking love. We also have to thank Optics Planet. They're supplying me with a lot of optics and attachments for rifles. Funny enough, as a gun tuber, it's really easy to get guns, slightly harder to get attachments. So it's a weird juxtaposition. Big thank you to Optics Planet for helping out. Gonna be code admin for 7% off everything at Optics Planet, so a big thank you to them. So what's up with the Quattro-15? Well, essentially Desert Tech decided to make this lower that takes these big beefy mags. Now, normally, if I wasn't on YouTube, these mags would be 53 round magazines. But thanks to YouTube, they're actually 20 round magazines to be compliant with YouTube policy and guidelines. Thanks, YouTube. So they ended up making these lowers, and that is a thought process because they're thinking, well, hey, what if we had these beefier mags to replace even more mags on the body? It's a concept as old as guns, right? Whenever there is ammunition, we want to carry more ammunition in the magazine as possible, right? The problem is that, to me, it's kind of like wishful thinking. And the reason is, it's taking a really good tried and true lower and making it weirder. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just not necessarily as optimized as it could be, because why would I do this if the Magpul D60 exists, if I'm being honest, right? Because you have this big gaping hole. This is the AR-15 that's ready to settle down and have kids, right? You have this giant gaping hole of a lower, and it's all cut up, and it has all these openings. Even you can see the openings up here and everything. I can see what they were doing, I can see what they were trying to do. To me, I just don't think it's practical, if I'm being honest, right? I like the idea of it. I like the idea of force multiplication of the AR-15 platform to try and get it to be the American RPK. Their mission statement, I believe on their website, was for, you know, the civilian market. So I do like that. I do like that companies are stepping up to the plate to arm civilians with as much equipment as possible. I like that it's another option on the market. I just think it is silly when you really start to think about it, because to use normal mags, they have to sell an adapter. And it's like, I don't think you can even freaking, your magazine, maybe you could like weird feed it in, but it's just like, man, why would I do all that work yet again when, say, like other AR-15 drums exist essentially, right? Why would I do this? So that's essentially my thought process on it. I do love the American RPK setup though. I like the idea of that. And I've played with this in this similar setup before. So the upper was going to be the host for another similar thing. It's really kind of it, you know what I mean? I'm thinking about it, because it's like the ridiculousness of these mags to be compared to the normal AR-15 mag, logistically speaking, right? If you are the concerned citizen and the apocalypse has happened and you now have to carry these beefy, chonky mags, you're gonna need modified gear. You're gonna need, like, it's gonna be taking a 2 for 1, right? You could just have 2 AR-15 mags on you that integrate with every other platform of AR-15 stuff already. You don't need these proprietary mags from Desert Tech. And it's like, the thing is, when you start making mags like these have a tendency and a reputation. I'm not saying these particularly do, but in general, these style of magazines aren't the most reliable. They have a track record of kind of not being great. So there's that, right? I'm not saying that these mags are the case, but it's an overall statement of the big quad stack mags like these, right? As opposed to our tried and true P mags. So the lower itself, let's go over the lower itself. So you can see that the lower itself does a pretty good job of being ambidextrous. So you got a bolt drop over here. Yep. So you got a cool ambidextrous lower with bolt release and mag release on each side. And you have built-in you got a built-in sling point on the lower, which is pretty nice, and then you have that big beefy gape. Trigger itself isn't too shabby. You can get a pretty good string of fire going just in semi-automatic itself, which is cool. So I like the ambidextrous factor. I just think that overall, the quad stack nature of it is, I would just stick to a regular lower, if I'm being honest. I like what they were doing with it. I like innovation, I will give them that. I like to see companies innovating. It's just the practicality of that innovation. It's like your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. And this isn't to shit on Desert Tech in any way, shape, or form, you know, it's just the harsh reality of how I see the world. Now, you may be seeing this from a different perspective and thinking, oh hell yeah, that is right up my alley. I wanna have these awesome Quattro mags, these proprietary mags that don't integrate with any of my other battle buddies on this hypothetical war battle. That may be up your alley, but to me personally, being blatantly honest, it's not my cup of tea. I think it's a cool thing. I think it has a purpose and a place, but I don't think it's too much my go. If I was taking this thing hog hunting and the lower was automatic and I had these big full auto things, it was more of a fun thing, yeah, no pressure, right? No pressure, no harm, no foul. I think it's a fun option in the arsenal. It's pretty low threat. You can just get the lower and you can throw any upper onto it. So it's kind of a cool option in that sense with modularity. Maybe you carry 2 lowers with you, maybe you carry the adapter with you, but that being said, you do have to have an adapter when if you just had a normal AR-15 lower, you just need a drum. And then drums, of course, have their own issues with just being big and bulky, but at least they integrate with everyone else's rifle magazines, which is nice. That's kind of like the whole reason the RPK exists, is to not use a belt, but still be in the role of a light machine gun. For the American version of that with the AR-15, it's kind of like the same reason. It's if you're taking an American RPK and throwing a different proprietary magazine in there that doesn't integrate with your battle buddies. Yeah, I know, I'm sounding like a broken record.
Crazy. I was crazy once. Rats make me crazy.
Okay, you guys get it. I appreciate Desert Tech sending it over. I appreciate that they wanted to show it off, despite me probably gonna roast it or not. It shows bravery, and for that, they get the thumbs up. So in summary, is it good for an American RPK setup? Yes and no. I'm like 75% no, 25% yes, it's an option. Is it fun in the civilian market for just fun shooting? Absolutely, why not? I think it's great. So that essentially covers the video, gentlemen. If you enjoyed this, feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Your comments are a sacrifice to the managerial outcome gods of which who love corporate bureaucracy. All right, let's get out of here. That's unfortunate.